Primordial Radio.
Welcome back to Primordial Radio. I'm delighted now to be joined by Bryan Garris of Not Loose. Dude, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. You're taking a bit of a break at the parents' house at the moment. So catch me up on where you've been, because it was interesting. As I was preparing for today, I always create like a new folder in my drive, right, like, of bands I interview, and so I created the Not Loose folder today, and it was already there, and there was already an interview prepared and everything. And then I remembered we were supposed to chat last year around Outbreak Festival. It didn't happen because you were going into the studio, and then obviously one thing led to another, and it's been since then. So catch me up on where you're at now. So you're at your parents' house. You've been out on the road over in America.
Yeah. We've been so this year we've kind of been taking it a little bit slower than Knocked Loose normally would go, I would say. And we've just been kind of like really just playing festivals. We haven't been doing a lot of touring this year. No touring, actually. Just focusing on festivals and then using our downtime to like work on other stuff just to stay busy. So we've been doing a lot of really exciting festivals this year. We just got back this last weekend. We did Sonic Temple in Ohio and Adjacent Fest in Atlantic City, like right on the beach. Weekend before that, we did Rockville in Florida. We just recently did Coachella, which was a big one.
That went a bit viral, and I'd like to chat to you about that, because this off the back of something that happened this week. So Coachella is a very mainstream festival, right? With mainstream audience, and you're one of the heaviest bands around. Now, you've probably seen the whole thing that's happened here in the UK with the band Royal Blood, where they were unhappy with a festival at a mainstream crowd, and they flipped them off and sort of went off in a bit of a strop ultimately. So what's the secret then to winning over audiences at a more mainstream festival like Coachella?
Well, I do believe that you can't win them all. We've played festivals. We've played festivals that we fit in a lot more than we did at Coachella and gotten a way worse response. Like, it's just, I feel like we've always looked at these festivals as like an opportunity to play in front of new people and try to convert them. We've never, like, every single one of these like big major outdoor festivals, whether it be rock leaning or whether it be like pop leaning, it is a coin toss, and we've always viewed it that way. We've always been like, well, I hope that this is sick, and I think going into it with no expectations is beneficial, because when you have that one that's like a little bit more awkward and it feels like people are just checking you out rather than participating, you don't walk off the stage like, man, that set sucked. I think that we've always just kind of looked at it as the size of the crowd, not the interaction with the crowd, if that makes sense. Like Sonic Temple, like I just mentioned in Ohio, like our crowd was huge. It was amazing. And participation wise, it may have been a little bit more relaxed than what you're used to seeing at a Knocked Loose show, but there were still so many people watching us that in my mind, I was like, these people are probably just checking us out, never heard us, wanted to see what we're about. And that's fine. It's not a Knocked Loose show. You know what I mean? It's not that festival wasn't a Royal Blood show. And Coachella was definitely special because we honestly thought that it would be not good. And I don't want to sound negative by saying that, but like, we were just like, we're way out of place. This isn't really where we thrive. To us, like, just being a part of the lineup was such a win for us and for our team, that we were like, hell yeah, we're here. We're going to do what we do. Like, but we've already won because we're here. So like, the set could be weird. The set, like, it could go exactly how everybody probably expected it to go. Like, we're the black sheep. But then, to all of our surprise, the set was amazing. It was just like this special moment for the band where it was like we infiltrated a place where we didn't belong, and we represented, and it worked, and it was awesome. And that's like best case scenario for us, because we love doing things out of our comfort zone. And when it translates that well, it just makes us feel like we can do anything, we can play anywhere. And I think that like looking up to bands that have done that in the past, that are like in our similar world, like has always been inspiring to us, and we're hoping to just like keep that going.
Do you think that
Sorry, that was like the longest way to answer that question.
No, it's great, man. Do you think that we prejudge fans outside of our scene and perhaps don't give them enough benefit of the doubt? Because I'm thinking about what that sort of experience could be, because I've always prescribed to the idea of there being like gateway bands, right? I think it's fair to say you guys aren't a gateway band. Like, you're deep in the well. If by the time you get to the metal scene, now you may end up being a gateway band, and that would be sick. But there you are, Coachella, like some of the heaviest music going around, and very mainstream carried, and yet they've warmed to it. They've actually gone, actually, this is sick. I haven't heard heavy music like this before. I'll give it a go.
Well, my thing, I feel like like for Knocked Loose in general, I feel like we really try not to like judge a crowd before we know them, because in my experience, like, how many people around our age do you know that just listen to one kind of music? You know what I mean? I mean, they definitely exist, but I feel like nowadays it's way more rare to find someone that like just listens to metal, just listens to rap. Like, there's always stuff on both sides that they kind of like gravitate towards, that are a little bit out of like what they favor. And for us specifically as individuals, that very much is the case. Whereas like we love everything. Like, I liked like hip hop and rap far before I found heavy music, and I've kept that with me. And I listen to country music, and I listen to pop music, and everybody in my band is the same way. So kind of just like going into these spaces and assuming that everybody's on the same page of like, they might not be familiar with heavy music, but there's definitely something that you can reach out and grasp onto in heavy music if you're just a fan of the live music experience. Like, if you're at a rap show nowadays, I don't know when the last time like you went to a rap concert, but nowadays it almost looks like a mosh pit. Like, it's people jumping.
Ah, man, I mean, sadly, I haven't been to a rap concert in a little while. Last one I went to was Public Enemy in London. I mean, that was absolutely incredible. But the rapper I want to see is Zilikami or City Morgue. Like, their shows look just phenomenal. But I don't think he can tour in the UK, so I'd have to get over to America. But it just looks so badass.
Yeah, I mean, they like City Morgue calls for mosh pits, you know what I mean? And like last year, we were fortunate enough to be able to tour with Suicide Boys, and we were the only band on the bill. Like, Suicide Boys, Ski Mask the Slump God, Snot, Maxo Cream, and DJ Scheme, and then like we're just like in the middle of the bill, and there wasn't one awkward show. It just, and every single day I was like, this could be the awkward one. Like, it would make sense, right? Like, nobody would be surprised if any of the shows were awkward, but every single show was like, they just want to like jump and crowd surf and be energetic. And like, even if you're completely new to it, like seeing something jarring like that, like, it's entertaining whether you walk away a fan or not.
It's like the whole idea of heavy is being rewritten in a sense. Maybe not so much about genre, but about feeling. And as you say, the energy of a live show. How does it work on the flip side of things then? Because you're going to be in the UK for Bloodstock Festival, which is one of the biggest festivals we have in the UK, outside the likes of Download Festival. So Bloodstock Festival, huge metal festival, but it's very much a metal festival where, yes, you're I think above you is Triptychon. So again, much like Coachella, where you might look like a little bit of a fish out of water, potentially a little bit there. So how does it go trying to win over a more diehard of an audience?
I think that it just matters, like, or it just depends on learning how to communicate to different crowds. And that's something that I've always really enjoyed doing with Knock Loose, figuring out the spaces that we can exist, because the band is going to stay the same no matter what show we play. But you can't talk to a Coachella crowd the same way that you could talk to a Bloodstock crowd. And even a better example, like we're doing Bloodstock and we're doing Reading and Leeds.
Yes. Yeah.
So like both like polar opposite vibes. The band is going to be the same on both. Just might have to learn how to get through to those fan bases. So I think that we definitely have more experience communicating with a metal leaning crowd, obviously, because that's where our background is. Like we like playing hardcore and metal shows and metal festivals. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm personally really, really looking forward to Bloodstock. That's been one that I've watched a lot of videos on the internet, and there's so many artists on the lineup that I'm excited to see and like hope we cross paths with. So um, that should be a good one. I feel like it's. I feel like we've honestly never done anything super metal leaning in the UK. We've done Download and Outbreak, and now we're doing Reading and Leeds, and we've done like hardcore stuff, and we've done a little bit more mainstream stuff, but we've never done anything like super metal. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I think with Bloodstock as well, what's nice is that, yes, it's a big festival, but there's a sense of intimacy about it as well. And that is quite difficult to get at a festival, particularly at a Coachella or a, Download, where it's, massive crowds. There's something just quite nice about Bloodstock Festival, the size and the layout of it. Yeah, I think you guys have an absolute blast there.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm very stoked.
So when we were supposed to chat a year ago, it got called off because you guys were heading into the studio or needed more time to focus on new music. And obviously your last album came out in 2019. So how's that been? And, you're hoping to get any new music out soon?
Yeah, I think what it actually was a writing session rather than an actual studio session. We've been, when we're so busy like that, with A Different Shade of Blue, we started this trend of like, we're a band that likes to be on tour as much as physically possible. And that means that when we're home, it's hard to get us all together to write because we're finally home, So like we started finding pockets within our off time to like schedule legitimate writing sessions so that we looked at it as another trip. Like we got to get together, we got to leave, we got to be away from home. That allows us to be secluded and just focus on the music and not worry about touring or worry about home life or whatever. And we did that with A Different Shade of Blue. We did that with A Tear in the Fabric of Life. We wrote it in like a cabin in the woods of Tennessee. And then over the pandemic, when our new guitar player Nico joined, we got like a house in Joshua Tree. And then last year around the time that you and I were probably supposed to speak, we got like a lake house in Michigan. And it's just like this long thing where like we'll go months and months without really like thinking about music because we're just touring so heavily, and then it's like, yo, we've got a couple weeks off, like let's just go somewhere and write. And yeah, we've been the way that I like to say it without giving too much away is like, if we're not on tour, we're definitely working. So like we're always doing something. If you're not hearing from us, it's because we're probably working on music.
And is the firm idea timeline in your mind about whether you want to get out this year or next year, or is there no timeline for you, just when it happens?
Kind of just when it happens, like we've always we've Sorry, I just almost dropped my phone. But we've always kind of been a band that like we'll release something and we're like, man, it took way too long to release this. We gotta not wait so long, because I mean, like, the time between laugh tracks and A Different Shade of Blue, I think, is like 3 years. And we never knew that we were gonna tour off our first album for 3 years. So, but then when it comes to writing it, it's like, okay, well, it has to be where we want it. So it's like kind of like we're getting more and more particular about the stuff that we release with every single release. So um I would say that the stuff that we're currently working on, like it has been a long time since we've released something, so it's no surprise that like something's probably coming, but we're just really trying to like zoom in on the stuff that we have and try to make sure it's like the best version that it can be.
And I get a sense that you're probably getting asked this in every interview now, where around the conversations around AI, kind of like, when COVID, hit, everyone was like, "How you doing, with the pandemic?" I kind of feel it's like that, but it's moving so fast, the it's almost becoming unavoidable. But I guess what I'm more interested in is like, would you ever consider actually using it? Because there's a very easy way to be like, you just sort of shut it all down, but I can see bands using it in the way, or I can see the analogy like how it was when Pro Tools kicked in, and there's a lot of people going, "Oh no, that's cheating. Don't use it." But I can already see ways in which bands could use AI, not to write lyrics or do anything, but to enhance what it is that they do. Is that a thought that's crossed your mind?
To be honest, it hasn't. I haven't really thought about it at all. I will say something really funny is in one of our writing sessions, we were like just like jamming ideas, and we really we've always written in like a very like jam oriented space. So like all of us sitting in a circle plugged in, like giving each other ideas. And we were talking about something and we found this like funny website that's like breakdown generator. And like it basically gives you a list of examples of kinds of breakdowns. There's like Meshuggah, there's A Day to Remember, there's like Sworn In, like just like eras of breakdowns. You get to pick the time signature and you get to pick the tempo, and then it just generates something. And we had so much fun with that. We sat and did it for so long, to the point where we found something sick and then tried to implement it. And I don't think that it made it, but like it was definitely funny. Like imagine if like this big breakdown that we had, like the secret gets out that we just used this like funny website that somebody made.
That reminds me of early days of every band where it was bandnamegenerator.com. It was. Every band did it, yeah. Because naming a band is one of the most difficult things, certainly when you're first starting out. Bryan, it's been great to catch up, man. And looking forward to the new music when it comes, and hopefully seeing you at Bloodstock Festival in August. Thank you so much for your time, dude.
Cool, yeah, thank you.
Primordial Radio.